What do you think of when you hear Art Nouveau? Sinuous lines of French furniture and interiors, stunning jewelry made of glass, and gemstones worn by elite actresses like Sarah Bernhardt? Poster art, World's Fairs and the Moulin Rouge? Tiffany glass? For most, traditional forms of art and decorative arts spring to mind. However, Art Nouveau, and the fashions associated with the style, helped dress gain its formal acceptance into the world of decorative arts and design at the turn of the 20th century. The Art Nouveau style, literally meaning new art, was known by different names through the world, including Glasgow style, Scotland, Jugeon style, Germany, style Floreale, Italy, and Secession style, Austria and Hungary. Art Nouveau is generally considered to have been most popular from about 1890 to 1914. Though more of a style, as it often lacked an ideology, Art Nouveau stemmed from two different art and design movements: the arts and crafts and aesthetic movements. Significantly, while the adaptation of the style changed in different regions and throughout the decades it was popular, it embraced various motifs and elements of the movements, which inspired it. While it is easy to oversimplify the style, Art Nouveau can be characterized by the use of natural forms, flowing and sinuous whiplash-style lines, the use of symbolism and the female form, and a taste for the exotic in material, form, and technique. Japonism. Japan's long period of exclusion from the West ended in the mid-19th century, and from 1862 the work of Japanese craftsmen could be seen at world trade fairs. Woodblock prints, porcelain, textiles and lacquer work had a profound impact on many Western art movements, including Art Nouveau. Bamboo, carp, wisteria and cherry blossom became part of the decorative repertoire. Siegfried Bing, a naturalized Frenchman from Hamburg, ran an import-export business from the 1870s and edited the influential monthly journal Le Japon Artistique. In December 1895, he opened a gallery in Paris. The gallery sold jewelry, paintings, ceramics, stained glass, and furniture from designers, including Tiffany, Georges Duffer, Edouard Colonna, and Eugène Galliard. Inspiration. The natural world was the most important organic inspiration for Art Nouveau. The sensuous lines and organic forms were designed to communicate the tranquility and calming effects of nature. The drawings were also analytically accurate, reflecting advances in biological knowledge. Botanical drawings of Henri Berger were directly transposed onto Daume Frère glassware. Ernst Haeckel was a German zoologist, a proponent of Darwinism and consultant to the British Challenger expedition, exploring the deep-sea environment. Watercolors and drawings from his journeys and the 1904 publication Kunstformen der Natur were landmarks in the field of naturalist illustration. They were explicitly referenced by Art Nouveau artists and designers, including Emil Gala and Jugend publisher Georg Hirth. Interior. The organic contours of Art Nouveau on the outside of buildings were matched by equally compelling interiors. Within a smaller space, patrons could be more daring. Designers had creative freedom to create furnishings, which were detailed to the last door handle, chair or teaspoon. In Belgium, Germany, and France, the emphasis was on curvilinear forms, with differing approaches to decorative and functional restraint. Wood was twisted into new shapes, with entomological additions, but could also be sleek and functional. Glasgow and Vienna tended to the geometric. In other parts of Europe, nationalistic and vernacular influences were prevalent, including Nordic Viking and dragon styles, dragastil. The Paris World's Fair in 1900 featured interiors by Norwegian Henrik Bull and chairs by Jan Kastner of Prague. From 1890, inspired by the arts and crafts movement, he designed Joujon still furniture and objects. His interiors were used by key Parisian outlets Maison de l'Art Nouveau, Bing, and La Maison Moderne, Julius Meyer-Grief. A significant period of van der Velde's working life was spent in Germany. He established the School of Arts and Crafts in Weimar in 1905, which later became the Bauhaus. In 1907, he helped form the Deutsche Werkbund. The formal, angular style incorporating Celtic symbols deployed by architect, designer and watercolorist Charles Rennie Mackintosh defined the Glasgow School, along with the MacDonald sisters and Herbert McNair. Together, they were known as the Four. Scottish businesswoman Miss Catherine, Kate, Cranston was a loyal patron, with whom Mackintosh collaborated for over 20 years in several projects. She was at the forefront of the tea room business in Glasgow, an alternative refreshment opportunity in an industrial city notable for its masculine drinking culture. Mackintosh's work was received sympathetically in Austria, where he exhibited at the Vienna Secession. One of its founders, architect and designer, Josef Hoffmann, was known as Quadratl Hoffmann for his use of squares and cubes. Architecture. Rapid industrialization generated a construction boom in many cities in Europe. Architecture was a statement of national modernity and aesthetic taste. Art Nouveau styles could be recognized from Ålesund to Vienna, and seen in the pavilions constructed for the World Trade Fairs. Fluid wrought iron designs and architectural stoneware brought a distinctive and luxurious presence to the exterior of buildings and bridges. For architects, industrial wealth and ambition attracted commissions from state and industry as well as private clients, where every element of the environment, inside and out, could be designed. Architects producing sinuous styles in Brussels included Paul Hancke, Henry van der Velde, and Paul Saintenoy, but, most famously, Belgian architect Victor Horta. His work was defined by light, open-planned spaces and innovative use of ironwork. Many of Horta's buildings were private commissions for industrialists, including Emile Tassel and Armand Solvay. The Maison du Peuple was a complex of shops designed for the Belgian Workers' Party. Horta was a Freemason. In Paris, architect and designer Hector Guimard developed an abstract flowing style, although calling himself architect d'art did not endear him to the art world. Commissions included Maison Coelit in Lille, Castel Béranger and the designs for metro stations built for the 1900 Exposition Universelle, which combined linear forms with industrial construction methods. Art. The erotic nature of many Art Nouveau works was a common feature seen in the small-scale decorative arts and jewelry, furniture, paintings and printed material of the time. Mysticism and dream worlds. Fantasy and folktales were portrayed by symbolist painters and interpreted on tapestries by Otto Eckmann in Germany, and Gerhard Munter and Frieda Hansen in Scandinavia. Women were visions of either purity or temptation. In the poster art pioneered by Jules Cherry, they were carefree and fun-loving. Regarded by many as the embodiment of Art Nouveau, Loïe Fuller made her debut in Paris on the stage of the Folies Bergère in 1892. An early free dance practitioner, she developed a series of routines that whirled around the stage to the music of Debussy, Chopin, and Schubert, with revolutionary lighting and effects. Sarah Bernhardt was another Art Nouveau icon, a French stage and film actress whose personal life was every bit as dramatic as her performing career. Bernhardt traveled and performed worldwide. She contracted Alphonse Mucha for several years and commissioned jewelry, dinner services and other artworks from artists such as Loïe. A key figure of the age, she appeared on many advertisements endorsing products. Alphonse Mucha was a Czech painter and decorative artist born in southern Moravia, a Slavic province of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. He later moved to Paris to work for the lithographer Champenois. As a versatile designer of wallpapers, textiles, silverware and jewelry, Mucha's work is instantly recognizable and was widely emulated, particularly after 2 volumes of his graphic designs were published in 1902. His first commission, a poster for Sarah Bernhardt for her performance in Gismonde in 1894, was the beginning of his success. Like many artists of the period, he was drawn to theosophy and the occult. When he fell from popularity towards 1910, Mucha returned to Prague and dedicated his efforts to the Slav epic, 20 large paintings depicting Czech and Slavic history. A fascination with the visionary and mystic was shared ground among seemingly disparate artists portraying an inner world. Symbolism had its roots in literature and poetry, and Belgian sculptor and graphic artist Georges Minnaert was internationally recognized as one of its leading protagonists by 1895. Although his subdued style seems at odds with the flamboyance of Art Nouveau, it was sold in the shop La Maison Moderne run by his friend Julius Meyer-Grief, the German art dealer and critic who founded the magazine Pan in Berlin and Decorative Kunst in Paris. Minnaert was part of a Belgian artistic group in St. Martin's-Latem. Fashion. The term Art Nouveau appeared in print for the first time in 1884, when Londoners were clambering on the first subway system in the world and an automobile powered by an internal combustion engine was about to be unveiled by Daimler and Benz in Germany. The Art Nouveau look, often associated with luxury, soon became identifiable across Europe. It could be seen in buildings, tea rooms and objects of every kind, from fashion and furnishings to books and journals. Textiles were among the repertoire of goods produced by the Wiener Werkstatt in Vienna. Artist Gustav Klimt designed fabrics and elaborate costumes for the fashion shop of his friend, Emily Floge. Among his models was a looser design, reflecting the dress reform movement. This aimed to encourage manufacturers and fashion designers to develop and produce less restrictive and lighter designs. After 1900, a new corset style in women's fashion created an S-shaped silhouette. Soft gauzy fabrics and sinuous lines, in modern shades, were worn. Sportswear, beach clothes and cycling costumes began to appear on the market. Shoes included Art Nouveau motifs and stylistic detailing on heels. Across Europe, there were many fashion publications highlighting the new modes. Artists and architects could reference guides to elements and philosophies of design from an array of sources. Guimard and Horta, for example, cited the ideas of Eugène Emmanuel Violet-le-Duc and his call for the use of new materials, such as glass and iron, as well as a break with historical trends. The Grammar of Ornament by Owen Jones, 1856, provided decorative designs from many cultures and proposed seeking inspiration from nature. Commercial production of Art Nouveau designs came from artistic groupings such as the Wiener Werkstatt, which allowed designers to put a name on their work. Often, in history books, women's Art Nouveau fashions are relegated to just the so-called artistic dress, which was comprised of corsetless gowns and tea dresses looking to artist smocks and historical robe-like fashions. However, these dresses were not acceptable for the average woman, as they were too controversial. Instead, women who favored Art Nouveau often incorporated distinct elements of the style into their otherwise contemporary popular fashions. Dandelions, like dragonflies, butterflies, sunflowers, sheaths of wheat, Queen Anne's lace, lilies, irises, peacock feathers, and orchids, among others, were all common natural motifs used in Art Nouveau decorative arts. Often women would accent their dresses with Art Nouveau jewelry, as well. Throughout the 1890s and first 2 decades of the 1900s, haute couture designers in England and France such as Poiret, Worth, Doucet, Paquin, Lucille, Redfern, and others, brought elements of the Art Nouveau style into their fashion. And it was amazing. Do you agree?